For a number of years, Austria tried its utmost to get a permanent residence on the Formula One calendar. It started way back in 1958 when the city of Zeltweg and an airport just nearby the city actually held an Austrian Grand Prix for the two inaugural races. There was even another Grand Prix in 1964 which was held at the exact Zeltweg airport itself, but unfortunately many suspensions broke for that first initial Formula One championship race, and eventually they had to go and find another track. Took another 5 years, but the Österreich was born in 1969. 3.7 miles of pure, unadulterated fun. But over the years, changes had to occur, and we ended up with the A1 ring, which now became the Red Bull ring. Since 1996, the Austrian Grand Prix has played host to a Formula One race. It had a bit of a gap between 1996 and 2003, where it was on the calendar, and then it came back just a few years ago in the modern Formula One hybrid era. But tonight it plays host to round 5 of the Renault Mégane Trophy, sponsored by PowerMax Racing. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator for tonight, and this is a track that's been on the calendar for the Méganes for the past 3 seasons. It's always played host to some excellent racing around this circuit. Got a number of drivers in for tonight, which is fantastic to see. We've got 13 in the lobby currently, but we're still waiting to see on any other joiners in the lobby. Now, still got a minute or so before qualifying is due to get underway, which I will start, but I'll run through the championship standings to begin with. So the one that you can see on the screen at the moment, Martin JL09, he leads the championship on 79 points. He's won 2 out of 4 races so far this season. Snav is second in the championship, tied with D10 Piper on 63 points. Both of them have won a race this season. Danzo is in 4th place. Where is Danzo? I think he's in the pits at the moment. Just have a quick scroll down. Yeah, he's just in the pits at the moment, is Danzo. He is on 53 points. Subertus is in 5th place on 43 points. Tied with Slow Seamus. Obviously, Slow Seamus having his podium earlier on this season. He's there. Duds is in 7th place in the championship, who I think is also in the pits at the moment. 1805, he's in 8th place on 36. NXTGEN Bigsy is in 9th on 35 points. So it's very close between those 3 drivers, separated by a point apiece. Mark Parker, he's in 10th place in the championship on 31. Unfortunately, Mark can't make it tonight. Little bit of an injury for Mark, so he's not going to be around for a few races, unfortunately. So if you're watching, Mark, hopefully you get better soon, buddy. We do wish you back on the grid as soon as it's healthy to do so. And 11th place in the championship is CRT Pip Didjar. He's on 27 points. Mike Edwards, who is just in front of Seamus at the moment on circuit, he is on 23 points in 12th place. Roven Island and Shadow Stalker are tied for 13th. And the 55-8, who again showing his speed, who's a little bit sideways because of the lag there, he's got 12 points and rounds out the field. So let's see how the drivers get on for tonight around this historic circuit. Obviously been around in numerous different forms in effectively 51 years, so a lot of history around this circuit. We'll just look to see if any other drivers are missing from the lobby. I know that Mark Parker's unfortunately not able to make tonight. Just going to have a quick scroll down to see the driver names. Just identifying who the driver is, or which driver we are missing, so bear with me while I go through these driver names. Danzo's there, of course, as is Subertus, we've seen him. Duds is also there. 1805 we've seen on track already. Bigsy we know is in the, well, was in the pits when I was looking earlier. CRT Pip Didjar doesn't look like he's in. I think he did say he wasn't racing, so let's get into qualifying. Going to be wonderful to watch. Obviously the Méganes, like I say, have been round here before, and you know, in terms of Lobby 2 lap times that we're looking at, a couple of drivers have said, you know, looking at the 132s, maybe the 133s for qualifying. We've seen Martin already into the 32s. Looked like he had a little bit of a gap between himself and Snav and D10 Piper. As you can see, the car's now coming out on circuit. It's Danzo. He's got Shadow Stalker just in front of him. And that's Mike Edwards. So Mike Edwards has got to the front of the queue to begin with in that 3M car. And he's had a good season so far, as Mike. He's had a bit of an up and down season. I'm still not certain what happened to him at round 1 at the Nürburgring when he was running inside the top 10, but since then he has had a 7th place at Alsace, which was a good result, but he's certainly capable of more, and the field's going to be a lot tighter together this evening. I can't imagine the field being separated by more than 2 or so seconds. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how the drivers get on. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work to do for the drivers to try and make sure that they keep themselves on circuit, because this is a track that does punish those that run wide. Anyone makes a mistake, they're going to know about it and they'll go flying off circuit. You see the drivers coming through turn number 7 there, and then flick through turn number 8. That's going through louder, of course. And they come over this little crest here down into turn 9, which is Rint corner, and then number 10, which is the final corner, is known as the A1 corner. Obviously the old name used to be the old A1 Grand Prix, but it's not known as that anymore. And this is another factor that's going to be involved in tonight. You can see penalties appearing already for drivers, and this is a very easy circuit to pick up penalties. The pre-race chat has been filled with various comments to the drivers saying it's going to be very difficult to try and keep a clean lap, and a few of them saying they'd be surprised if the whole grid doesn't have a penalty within the opening 5 laps. So consistency is going to be key, trying to clear those penalties. You can clear quite a fair amount of the penalty going into this corner, turn number 3. Apparently there's a lot of penalties you can remove going into turn 3 on the brakes, so nice little pocket of space for the drivers. That's a nice camera angle, that, actually, to be honest, that we've got here. As Bursus just goes a little bit sideways coming out of turn 3 over that big exit curve, which is what the drivers have got to keep an eye out on. He runs that yellow line like Biggsy does at full throttle, and they're turning the wheel, they're going to go off. You see Martin pushing the limits already. Duds flying around as well. So drivers have to be wary of this track. It will bite back at them. You know, it is an old school circuit. It's not as flowing, I suppose, as the old Österreich-Ring, of course, with the old Westlife circuit. Well, I say Westlife, it's actually Westschleife, I should say, which is the old part of the circuit. Still waiting to see what will happen with the development of the old circuit. It seems like there may be some movement in the next couple of years. Seamus just got stuck behind Shadow Stalker, so Danzo's set provisional way at the moment. He's 1.2 clear of Mike Edwards. There's Shadow Stalker now going up to 2nd. Seamus obviously had to slow down. Here's Burtis. What's his lap time looking like? So he gets himself up to 2nd, just in front of Shadow Stalker. Biggsy will be next across the line. Looks like a relatively decent lap from Biggsy, and sure enough, he goes 2nd. Seamus is there. Danzo's on the grass, so he's had a moment coming out of turn 1, but that's quite far up. Martin's now gone P1 provisionally. That's a good lap time from Duds, and 1:32. Very competitive from him. 55.8 up to 3rd now. Is what we were saying in the pre-race lobby, is that the 55.8, we know he's quick. The Scottish driver has got the speed, but the consistency just hasn't been with him this season. That's why he's languishing in last place at the moment. So he'll certainly be hoping that he can just put a consistent run together. It's Danzo just on the brakes, but he's coming into turn number 4. Obviously we saw him on the grass before. All the other drivers still going around the circuit. That was Shadow Stalker just getting out of the way of everyone. D10 Piper now comes across the line. That's made a mistake somewhere, so he just sits in 11th. And what about Snav? He went purple. Oh, he picked up a penalty coming out of the final corner. He was on for a 33 flat potentially otherwise, which would have put him pretty much into 3rd place. So time to come from the drivers in terms of around the Red Bull Ring. Quite a short circuit, of course, as Mike Edwards improves on his personal best. You know, let's not forget, it's a very quick circuit. The F1 cars around here, usually they'd be in the, you know, 60, late 60 second, 70 second bracket mark. Big Z improves on his time, gets himself into the top 6. What about Duds? We'll ride on board with Duds for a lap, actually, because we haven't gone on board with him yet. So here we come towards turn 1 into Castrol corner, braking in between the 150 metre marker, slides the car in over the curve. That's going to pick him up a penalty for Duds, but he won't be too concerned about that. It's 18.05 improves on his lap up into the top 8. You can see half a second penalty, but watch as we come through turn 2, which is this left hand corner, not completely flat in the car, on the brakes at 100. Now watch the timer tick down to effectively a tenth of a second, so the drivers will know that they can use that. Nice corner through turn number 3 from Duds, building up through the gears now up to 120 mile an hour, probably hits 130, maybe even 140 before they get to this bridge, or rather a little sign. Down on the brakes into second gear, rear moving about a little bit for Duds through turn number 4, but nice and clean again. A hint of suspected rear brake bias on Duds' car here at the moment. Then coming through turn 5, then turn 6, this left-hander. Very difficult corner to get right, but Duds nice and smooth on the throttle application. Then down into third gear again for turn number 7. Again, got to be patient on the throttle. Duds upshifted into 4th. Through turn 8, which is completely flat, as Seamus now does a 33 flat. And then down into the penultimate corner known as Rint. 4th gear in the Mégane, pretty straightforward, and then on the brakes again, down into 3rd for the final corner. Got to clip the car, nicely done, doesn't run too wide. So nice clean lap from Duds. What's his lap time going to be? That's a 33.8, so looked very quick, it has to be said, but a second slower, so certainly a lot of time for Duds to find. Slipstream will have a big effect in this circuit as well in qualifying. Rover 9 just doing a 34.7 there, so the whole field, I'm fairly certain, are going to be covered by, yes, 2 seconds practically. So going to be very difficult if a driver makes a mistake tonight to try and get back up into the thick of the action. You can see the midfield very close at the moment. 55.8 running in 6th at the moment. Big Z Danzo separated by 500ths of a second. You can see the drivers already, a little bit of potential tactics going on as D10 Piper is now provisionally on pole. Didn't do a quick lap last time out, but that's a very impressive lap time from the Zerka Techman. Still got time for 2 laps as the number 74 driver. But, you know, 32.7, and Snav has just gone, well, a little bit quicker. He's in 6th, and they're separated by less than half a second, so the Megans are going to be very, very close tonight. You look where Danzo is, Shadow Stalker, the top 10 separated by a second exactly. One to watch tonight, Shadow Stalker. He looked quite quick in practice, did the Garage 4 Tile Company driver. He did look very consistent as well, so let's just stay with him. Martin goes now back into P1. That's a good lap from Martin. Shadow Stalker doesn't improve, but he's got time for 1 lap, maybe 2. I think Duds will go on to his final lap. He's got 3rd is Duds. That's a great effort for the fast car man. A little bit sketchy coming into turn 1. Roving Island improves as well. But Martin, nice big gap for Martin. He's 4 tenths clear of D10 Piper at the moment, and you can see he's got Big Z ahead of him. And this is the advantage of having that slipstream chain. It's, you know, the cars definitely, and the drivers could certainly take advantage. Everyone obviously running the same setups. Seamus just moves out of everyone's way. He's done a good job, to be fair. It's going to be quite difficult for him to get out of the way of Danzo. Stays hooked to the inside, and he's done well there, Seamus. As D10 Piper fights back now, he's got within a tenth of a second, using all of the AstroTurf and curb and more as he goes through turn 1. Absolutely on it through that corner was D10. Duds is 3rd. He will be the first driver to see the checkered flag. That's Seamus getting right out of the way, and that's going to be qualifying over for him. So at best he's going to be on the second row of the grid. Look how close the other drivers are behind him. A tenth for Suburtus, who improves on that lap, but he's just not close enough just yet. Here comes Duds then. He's going to be the first to see the checkered flag. I'm fairly certain of it, although I say that's going to be very close. Danzo improves now, up into the top 8. It's going to come to the line. That's the checkered flag, I think, for Duds. I may be wrong. No, that is it. So Duds, Seamus have seen the checkered flag. Who's coming up next? Bertus is on his lap. Snav going round. Someone's going round Rint as it stands. 55.8 has done his qualifying, as has Bigsy. Shadowstalker on a lap. So it's 18.05, but he's not going any quicker. So we'll cut back to Snav. Joint second in the championship. He's 6th at the moment. Right in the mid-pack. Comes round Rint, 4th gear. A little bit of traction control used. No harm doing in the Méganes, of course. And that nice and tight through the final corner. So what's his lap time going to be as he comes towards the line? He improves up to 4th. So good improvement for Snav. Relegate Seamus to 5th. D10 Piper is done. Martin's still on a lap at the moment. He won't know that D10 Piper's seen the checkered flag yet. Berth is still on his lap, of course. There's Danzo. He's behind Martin at the moment. Just looking to see who's coming towards the line now. It's in fact Mike Edwards. And he improves but doesn't get himself off the bottom spot, so he stays 13th. What about Martin then? He's coming towards the line now. What's his lap time going to be in that Sales I car? Doesn't improve. Danzo, that's pretty much game over for him. What about Shadowstalker? He comes towards the line. He improves up to 8th. Fantastic effort from Shadowstalker. Up into 8th place. What about Bertus? He's not going to improve on that lap. Shadowstalker, I think that's his best ever qualifying. What a performance from him. He's going to be very happy with that. Anyone else on a lap? I know that someone's coming towards the checkered flag now, but it's D10 Piper, so that's qualifying over, and it's Martin again with another pole position. He's absolutely flying this season, is Martin. Absolutely on the limit in that Sales I car, but it's another pole position. And you'd argue he's going to have a lot of work to do with D10 Piper, but those two on the front row again. Duds with another good qualifying performance on the second row with Snav lining up alongside him. But here we go then, into the race. Martin's 4th pole position of the season. Can he convert that into a 3rd race win? Going to find out in the next 20 minutes, which are the numbers on the right hand side. That's the time remaining. Here comes the countdown for the numbers. And the race is live from the Red Bull Ring. It looks like a relatively equal launch from the two, but D10 Piper looks like he's going to be a long slide as he comes towards turn number 1. Bit of shuffling going on in the background as cars move about, but Martin holds his line, but he's been overtaken by D10 Piper. Martin, though, gets a very good exit out of turn 1. Snav is 3rd. I think that was Seamus who's gone up to 4th. Good effort from him. I think it was Duds who went out wide. He's been compromised. He's down in 6th. Danzo 7th at the moment. As they break now towards turn 3, you can see D10 Piper. Snav looking for a move up the inside. Snav's gone so late on the brakes, he's into P1. What an absolute brilliant piece of opportunistic driving from Snav. He leads the race. Martin 2nd. D10 Piper's going to be on the inside as they come towards turn number 4 for the first time. What a move from Snav. He's in the lead. Martin 2nd. The burst is trying to defend from Seamus, who's just gone running outside of him. Although D10 Piper very slow out of turn 4, compromises his exit. I'm going to cut now just out and then back in because of the GT Sport glitch, so he can ride on board of the drivers. But it's D10 Piper in 3rd, Seamus 4th, there's Bertus in 5th, Duds 6th, Danzo right behind him in that Adrian Flux car. There's Bigsy in 8th, Shadowstalker in 9th, Mike Edwards 10th at the moment, Roven Iron 11th, 18.05 12th, and what has happened to 55.8 again? It's off the back of the pack. But it's Snav who leads the way with a great move. Here comes D10 Piper up the inside. Good move from him. Seamus is up the inside of him. Martin's going backwards. He's down to 5th. What happened to Martin going through turn 9? He's got Danzo all over the back of him. He's got Duds looking to go at the inside. He's going to try and go in a slipstream. It's Danzo, but it's going to be very difficult to make a move. He's on the inside for turn 1. Gets hit by Duds. They both go wide over turn number 1. Over the curb, but they've survived for the time being. There's Bigsy. Shadowstalker getting involved in the mix as well. Further at the front, looks like Slow Seamus is trying to go round the outside at turn 3. They're leaning on one another. Seamus is going to brake later. Tries to turn in, but there's a Zerkotech car. It's been pushed wide, and that's Seamus round. Oh, contact. Oh, there's a couple of bits of contact. There's all chaos at turn 4. Oh dear, that all went horribly wrong, and Seamus and Bigsy have gone to the back of the pack. Oh, it just looked like there was too many cars trying to occupy the same bit of space, and that was it. And that's D10 Piper off at turn number 4. That's Bertus who's gone past him now, up into second place. Carnage on lap 2. I think D10 Piper both just ran each other wide, and Seamus was on the curb, and I said it in qualifying, that the curb they've got to be careful of on the exit. And that was it, both round they went. That's Dud's going into the gravel, he's all over the back of Martin. Martin looks ruffled at the moment. Definitely have his feathers ruffled. He's not used to this sort of practice and application of behaviour. Here comes Duds up the inside, but has to back out of that one. Danzo survived all of that. I don't know how he managed to avoid everyone in the ensuing chaos. 1805 7th. Shadowstalker avoided all of it. He's in 8th. Roving Island on for a potential top 10 at the moment, because he's got Mike Edwards with him. Big Z, 55-8 and Seamus all together now. And that's actually Mike Edwards going up the inside at turn number 1. He's gone through, but he's gone very deep on the brakes. And back through goes the Joyce Design driver of Roving Island. So, all drama kicking off. It's not over yet. Danzo will ride on board of him. You've got Martin on the inside defending from Duds. Duds got a little bit of a phase in moments. He's going to try and cut through, but he can't. And he has to stay behind Martin, but not sure what's happened to Martin. He just seems to have lost a little bit of pace. And Duds is still putting the pressure on him. Championship leader. Duds nice and calm there. Had to be careful of that. Just lifted out of it. Here comes Danzo now up the inside of turn 4, because Duds went wide. Round turn 5, completely flat this corner. Oh, a little bit of door-to-door contact between the two drivers. Danzo gets edged out wide, but he's going to try and keep it round the outside. Duds slams the door shut now. What an opening couple of minutes we've had. We're only a quarter of the way through the race. In fact, we're not even that just yet. But this has been very eventful in Lobby 2. Danzo now putting the pressure on Duds for 5th place. It's allowed Martin just to recalibrate and get back onto where he needs to be. At the front, Snav still leading the way after his monumental turn 1 dive. But I say this much, Bertus is certainly keeping him honest. In fact, Bertus with the fastest lap of the race at 32.8. So Bertus never won a race in Lobby 2 before. He's had podiums. 2 from Suzuka East. He's got 3 podiums overall in the series, but never a race win. Snav obviously a race winner at Tsukuba. Here comes D10 Piper on the outside, defending from Martin. Using all of the track as D10 Piper and a bit of the AstroTurf too. Duds still has Danzo planted on him. 1805 at 7th. Shadowstalker in 8th. Mike Edwards and Roving Island have a wonderful fight for 9th place at the moment. Roving Island on the outside as they approach turn number 4. Mike Edwards looking to shut the door. Doesn't quite get across in time, but Mike brakes a little bit later. Roving Island looking for a switchback, but holding station these two for the time being. They've got 5 seconds on Seamus, who's recovering from his earlier incident with D10 Piper. There's the 55-8 and 12th. Bigsy just behind him in 13th. So Bigsy also went round at turn 4 on lap 2. I'm not sure what happened as 55-8 goes very wide. That's into the gravel. And through goes Bigsy. Simple as that. The Hampshire driver's not going to have any easier overtakes than that. Although I have to say 55-8 not giving up. Certainly all over the back of the Mégane on the spoiler there is 55-8. Is going to try and brake later. Oh, he does. Bit of contact between the two. 55-8 was there and through he goes, but he phases and they're both slowing down for one another. That is exactly the identity of sportsmanship, ladies and gentlemen. Both of them thinking they were in the wrong, both of them slowing down for one another, and all it's done is cost them time. So we'll cut back to the lead because Snav has 1.2 still on Bertus. D10 Piper's not too far behind. 1805 with the fastest lap of the race, so the Steel Seal driver certainly into his rhythm. Duds is closed the gap back to Martin. We saw Martin right on the back of D10, so maybe a mistake from the championship leader. There's Danzo in 6th. 1805 in nice clean air. Little bit of a slipstream effect from the cars in front, but 1805 in 7th at the moment, and certainly looking as if he wants this race, well, I say race win, but a top 5. He's certainly got the speed to do so. He's only, to be fair, he's only 5 and 6 seconds or so off the race lead at the minute. Danzo's all over the back of Duds. Will ride on board with Danzo. Coming through turn number 8. See the slipstream just takes effect now. It's a little bit too late for the drivers to try and get alongside going through that corner. Oh, you can see Danzo's got a little bit sideways over that curb, and that's another key area the drivers have to be aware of. They don't want to go too far over that curb, otherwise it'll unsettle the car like it did with Danzo. He's just set a personal best on that lap as Danzo. Oh, not the best of lines from Duds. He might pick up a penalty for that. Might have got away with it. Here comes Danzo then. Going to look to the inside for turn 2. It'll be the outside for turn 3 at the hairpin. Drivers have tried this a couple of times already. On the brakes they go. Phase in from Duds. And that's just allowed Danzo just to sweep through. So Danzo up into 5th place now. He's going to have to try and defend from Duds as they come towards turn number 4. See Duds already in that slipstream. Feints to the inside, then goes to the outside for turn number 4. On the brakes they go. Duds brakes a little bit earlier, looks for a switch back. Nicely done, but he's going to be on the outside for turn number 6, which is the left-hander coming up. A little bit of contact between the two, but nothing major. Duds trying to hang around the outside. It's going to be really difficult. I'm sure Danzo will just shut the door on him. And he does. So Danzo, at the moment, has 5th place. The man sat in 4th place in the championship with 2 podiums to his name this season, up into 5th. Martin's 4th. He's got away from those 2, but D10 Piper has now latched onto the back of Suburtus. Took him a couple of laps and half the race, but now he's there. The Fuchs driver will no doubt want a podium. Absolutely he will. He's not had one this season, but he's certainly experienced as the Dutch driver. You see D10 Piper taking that wide line as they go through turn number 1. He's gone a little bit wide as Bertus. Might give him a penalty potentially. And there, sure enough it has. But will he be able to clear that going into turn 3? And they're catching Snav. So, despite Snav's best efforts, as you can see, Bertus just clearing that penalty. And completely cleared it, as I mentioned in the pre-race warm-up. He can do that through turn 2. Bertus has got the speed here, and these drivers are very close together. Martin's not too far away, he's only 2.4 off. And then Danzo and Duds. And Duds goes for a move up the inside. That's a late lunge from the fast car, but he's gone a little bit deep. Here comes Danzo up the inside on the switchback, and Danzo gets the move done. Duds went into the gravel trap, and that might have just separated him from the rest of the pack. Shadow Stalker up to 7th. Great showing from him. I think 1805 has gone off somewhere. Roving Island in 8th place at the moment. That's a great performance from him. Seamus up to 9th now on his recovery drive. Yeah, 1805 has gone off on this lap, I think. Because he certainly wouldn't have been that far behind Danzo and Duds. 55.8 up to 11th. Mike Edwards has gone off, so he's fighting with Bigsy for 12th place. Bigsy had a couple of shaky laps. Looks like he's only just now got himself hooked up and together. Speaking of hooked up together, these 3, the top 3, the trio at the moment, separated by just a second. And Martin has closed the gap too, so this could become a 4-car fight as Martin chucks the car into turn 1. And here we go then, a nice run from D10 Piper. He's already through before we even get to turn 2. So, Bertus, will he look for a move? He's got the slipstream again. Brakes late. D10 Piper brakes a little bit later than him, but keeps the car in a straight line. And D10 up to 2nd place. So, 8 minutes coming up on this clock, which will be good for potentially 6 laps, depending on whereabouts the drivers are on circuit. This is going to be fascinating. You can see Snav has consistently been in the 33. He's done nothing wrong all the way through the race as Snav. But it's just lacking a little bit touch more speed. You can see the wonderful camera shot as they go through turn number 6, which is actually known as Power Horse, for those that are wondering what the track names are around here. And that's Martin doing a purple sector, so you can see Martin has now really upped his game here. He can smell a potential podium. But he's got three very equally matched drivers around the Red Bull ring to try and get past. Dudds is back ahead of Danzo. I suspect these two now might have just distanced themselves from the lead fight. Unfortunately for those two, Danzo going sideways. I thought he was going round for a moment. Shadowstalker 7th, Roving Island 8th. It's a really, really strong performance from Roving Island. I have to say, very impressed so far. He has had top 10s before as Roving Island last season, when he finished in 10th place. He's going to have Slow Seamus, a race winner behind him, and Seamus had a really, really good exit. He's going to try and sweep around the outside. Martin's up to 3rd, but he's alongside Bertus. I'll cut back to these two. In fact, Martin's gone a little bit sideways, so maybe he went too deep on the brakes. Cut back to Seamus. He's on the outside going into turn number 3. And that's a nice clean move. Seamus, recovery up to 8th. He's got a bit of work to do to catch Shadowstalker in 7th. But if Roving Island can still secure a top 10, it'd be his first top 10 this season, and what would complement a very good drive for the Joyce Design driver. Bigsy's in 12th. He's got ahead of Mike now. But Snav still leads the way, and in fact Snav with a very punchy lap last time out, 32.7, matching D10 Piper, so just resisting the efforts of the Zerkotech man is Snav at the moment. Bertus in 3rd. What will he be thinking? Will he want to try and keep this pressure on D10 Piper? He's in the slipstream. Oh, he's gone wide. He's gone very, very wide through the final corner, as did Martin. Both of them not really hooking it up, and that's a big penalty for Bertus to clear. I have to say it's a little bit harsh, but that's the way it is with the GT Sport regulations and rules and penalties. D10 getting sideways again, taking that riskier line through the corner. I suspect Bertus will try and clear this penalty. Oh, he's up to 2 seconds, so got a bit of work to do in the next 5 or so minutes. You can see, look how much of the curb D10 Piper. How brilliant was that on the brakes from the Zerkotech driver? But he loses the momentum coming out of the corner, and that's what's going to compromise him. But he's going to put the pressure on Snav in this last quarter of the race. Bertus now down to 1.1, so he really managed to clear it, and he's still within striking distance of the race leader at the moment. Martin in 4th. Still not out of this as the championship leader. He's got his fastest lap back. 18.05, had it for so long. And a quick note about the fastest lap situation in the championship. Martin has taken 3 of the first 4 fastest lap times available in this championship so far, so certainly has the speed. Dudds is 5th. He's still fending off Danzo in 6th. Shadowstalker 7th. Seamus 8th. Roving Island still in 9th place. Got himself into the 33s last time out on lap 8. 18.05 is clipping that gap down. Will he catch him before the end? It's going to be close between those two. But speaking of close, look how close D10 Piper is now on the back of Snav. Snav got a really good exit, it has to be said, out of turn 1, but that's going to be the extent of it. The slipstream is in effect now. D10 Piper has a penalty. Will he tactically use this to his advantage going into turn number 3? Snav defending already. It's quite a tight line from Snav. And sure enough, here comes the Zerkotech driver. I said he could use it. It's a very cheeky way of using the overtake, of ghosting through a driver. But you can see D10 Piper in the slipstream now as they come towards turn 4. Goes to the outside. There's the pink car. He's going to try and sweep around the outside potentially. No, has to sit back in. But these two, you know, for Snav, he's got 2 options realistically. He's going to have to try and... Oh, as I was about to say, that D10 Piper really tight to the inside line at turn 6. But D10 Piper, as I was about to say, Snav at the minute, he's got 2 options realistically. He can try and pull away. Seems to get a very good line through turn 7, does Snav. Has to be said. He either tries to pull away from D10 Piper or back D10 into Bertus, who's only 5/10 away. Got another penalty. That's Snav wide going into turn number 10. He's going to have to defend heavily into turn number 1. Now, this is an opportunity for Bertus. He's close enough to potentially, if he gets a good exit coming out of turn 1. But we're watching these two. Piper goes very late on the brakes to side by side. Here comes Bertus. He doesn't quite get the run. But what about Martin? Now he does. Oh, there's contact and off goes Piper. Oh, that's a complex situation. I think Bertus is slowing down. He is. That was absolutely accidental, but D10 Piper has just lost his chance for a race win. But now it gives Martin an unbelievable opportunity. He was on pole. He had what can only be described as an awful start to this race. He was all over the place, but he's fought his way back, and now he's in prime position for second place. Danzo and Duds must be thinking to themselves, what on earth has happened to the guys in front? They're now back fighting and battling for a third place, a podium. Duds looking for his second, Danzo looking for his third. D10 Piper must be furious at the moment. He's in 5th, Burst 6th. Shadowstalker looking potentially to try and attack for 6th place, but he's got to be conscious because Seamus is behind them. And there's going to be one more lap after this. Roving Island in 9th. He's got the gap to 18.05, which he needs for the time being, but we'll cut to the front too because Martin is putting on that pressure. Snav has led every lap so far in this Red Bull race. It's been fantastic as we come round the final corner. Oh, Snav's deep into turn 1, but Martin didn't get the exit he needed. Absolutely brilliant. We go on to this final lap now. What's going to happen here? I think WTFU once has cursed D10, unfortunately. Oh, a little bit of contact. That causes Snav to go deep. Martin will have to wait for him. And in fact, Snav has gained quite a lot of time, but will it give him a penalty for that contact? It hasn't, and in fact it's given Snav a second. So has that just ruined Martin's chance? What about Duds and Danzo? The double Ds are trying to go towards turn number 3 now. Danzo in the slipstream. Will he try and make a late lunge? He brakes late as he dares. He can't quite get it. He's on the exit curb, and that has just killed his chance. Duds is on his way to a second podium of the season, providing he keeps it on the track. Bertus is up to 5th, so D10 has made a mistake somewhere. He's in 6th. Seamus in 7th place now. He's got past Shadowstalker, but fair play to him. He's still in 8th. Roving Island in 9th, but we're going to cut back to the fight for 3rd place. Well, I say 3rd place, it's not on anymore. Martin's not going to catch Snav now at this rate. So we're going to ride in these last few corners with Snav, because who would have thought this? Absolutely wonderful drive. He got in front with an absolutely fantastic move into turn 3. Took 2 cars at once. He rounds the penultimate corner. Snav, announcing himself on the championship challenge, comes round the final corner in the Power Products car, and it's going to be Snav who takes the race win here at Red Bull Ring. It's another win for him this season. Martin recovers to 2nd. He's got a penalty, but it won't matter. Duds, another podium. He takes 3rd. Great result for him. Danzo in 4th place gets rid of his penalty. Bertus 5th. Seamus 6th. Shadowstalker 7th. What's happened to D10 Piper? He's 8th. Roving Island 9th. 18.05 is going to take 10th place. And what could have been for him? That's the same for the 55.8. He's just come around the final corner now in 11th. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. Big Z in 12th place. Again, he was in that fight, but turn 4 on lap 2. That just ruined his race for him. And Mike Edwards will round out the finishes in 13th place. But it's Snav once more this season, taking another win. What a race. That was superb. Snav takes it though. As we head into the winter break, he started P4, he finishes in 1st, and the momentum in the championships with him. Wow, what a race. Martin did brilliantly to recover to 2nd. It was so unfortunate between Bertus and D10 Piper. They were just fighting for that slipstream that Snav had, and that was it. Off they both went. But Bertus, rightfully so, waited up for him. Shadowstalker up to 7th. Brilliant performance for him. I'm sure he's going to be delighted with that result. Best result of the season for him. I'm certain he's going to be happy. Let's not forget as well, Roving Island getting inside the top 10. He finished 9th, his best ever result in Lobby 2 in the Renault Megane. He should be really, really pleased with that. And let's not forget Duds getting that 2nd podium of the season in the fast car. So what a performance from the drivers, really good spectacle. A couple of comments on the left hand side, unfortunately for Seamus, just seemed to be a little bit of bruising and rubbing against one another, and that was that. But that's it for 2020 for the Méganes. It's a very bizarre way of saying it, but it is indeed true. That's not the end of the championship. We're going to go into our winter break now for Next Gen. We won't be back for a number of weeks. We'll be back on, I believe it will be the 7th of January for round 6 at Brands Hatch Indy, where we'll be racing on a top 4 championship reverse grid. That's going to be wonderful. However, the action is not over just yet for tonight. We've got the Scirocco League coming up on this channel, on Jack TM53's channel, very, very shortly. That is my own channel. I've referred to myself in the third person. But in any case, that is it for the Méganes in 2020. We'll be back in 2021 on the 7th of January at Brands Hatch Indy for that top 4 reverse grid. But wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a very Merry Christmas and New Year, and we'll see you on the other side.